Welcome everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today I want to talk about something. So, a lot of us have been hoping and waiting for an actual Metroid Prime Trilogy HD announcement, and we haven't gotten it. It's been rumored, we expected it at the Game Awards, and it didn't happen. Now, myself personally, I feel that all the evidence that we've seen over the last couple years is pointing towards an actual holiday release for Metroid Prime 4. Yeah, I think it's coming out in 2019. So let's just assume it actually is, because obviously it's possible that it isn't. Maybe 2020, we don't really know. It could be another Breath of the Wild situation where the game's delayed a couple of years. That is certainly possible. But I think it's coming out holiday 2019, so I want to play this hypothetical for you guys. If it is really coming, let's just say that's confirmed, even though it isn't. What does that mean for Metroid Prime Trilogy HD? Would it really make sense for a Metroid Prime Trilogy HD to come out in the same year? We're all kind of hoping for it to come out early in the year, and I've definitely talked about it coming out early in the year and Metroid Prime 4 still coming out holiday season. But maybe I was being biased there. Maybe I just want to see all the Metroid I possibly can in one year. Would Nintendo really do that? Is that really the best business move for them? I'm not so sure, and now that we don't really know about Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, ever since we got disappointed by not seeing it at the Game Awards, you know, I sort of rethought about the situation. I'm not entirely sure it makes the most sense. I mean, it definitely makes sense for there to be some kind of Metroid coming out in 2019, but at this point I'm kind of thinking it's one or the other. So maybe Metroid Prime 4 won't come out in 2019, maybe it could be Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, but I don't think it could be both. Maybe it could. I mean, Nintendo could pull that off. They could come out with the Trilogy HD in, say, late January or early February, and still come out with Prime 4, so let's say in December, kind of the way Smash came out this year. That's possible. But, you know, I don't think it's super likely, because when have they done that? When have they come out with the same series of a game within 2 years? Of course, one's a re-release, but it makes me skeptical, to say the least. I still have hope, because I want to see as much Metroid as I can, but I'm not super confident anymore. When you think of it in that way, I'm not as confident. But when you think about it in that way, at least to me, I'm no longer as confident about this game coming out. And another thing to take into consideration, Metroid Prime Trilogy, that's 3 really big games. So the premise of releasing Trilogy HD so fans can go out and try it out and understand the entire story so they can go into Metroid Prime 4 later in the year, that's a lot. I'm not sure, and even if Metroid Prime 4 is coming out next year, that's a lot to put into one game. That's a lot of work to put into an entire trilogy to make it all in HD, redo the textures and lighting and stuff. So if it is real, I feel like, you know, the amount of graphical enhancements they do to it will probably be more on the minimalist side, because it is 3 whole games. And it's not just the graphics I'm talking, in terms of content. Like, I don't think they're going to add any additional content to it. If it is real, they're going to have to rework the controls, make sure the game is balanced, all these different things, maybe come up with some quality of life fixes and such. Those are the things they're going to focus on for a Trilogy HD. That's kind of how Nintendo usually handles it. But, you know, just for the sake of discussion, let's perhaps consider, what if they don't come out with the whole Trilogy HD, but they just do a Metroid Prime HD, so we get the first game fully remade, and they, you know, add a whole bunch of bells and whistles. Maybe they even add an extra boss fight in there. Maybe they add that Kraid that was scrapped early on in development for Metroid Prime. That would be amazing, right? Maybe I'm just kind of, you know, it's wishful thinking there, but that would be a nice thing to see, at least, right? If they were just to focus on one game, and maybe they could just kind of have some sort of like cinematic trailer or something, or some sort of story that explains the jump between Metroid Prime 1 and Metroid Prime 4. That could be something they could do to set up fans for Metroid Prime 4 when it eventually comes out. That's something I could maybe see. Or maybe they don't even release any of the trilogy and they still have some sort of trailer that summarizes the entire story going into Metroid Prime 4. That's another possibility. Another possibility is that maybe Metroid Prime 4 will have a name change and they won't call it Metroid Prime 4 anymore. It'll just be like Metroid Prime with some sort of subtitle, which I might actually prefer, because then they can just come out with different Metroid Prime games forever and we never have to worry about the numbering anymore, kind of like Legend of Zelda or Super Mario. They're just Super Mario Odyssey or Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Twilight Princess. That's something I would appreciate, and maybe they could go ahead and do that. That would be one way to sort of get rid of the whole continuity issue of understanding the prior story. Most fans for Zelda and Mario don't need to understand stories going in before that game, so they could maybe do something along those lines. So I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. The only thing I feel especially confident in saying is that no matter what, we're going to see Metroid to some capacity in 2019, and I think it's going to be really special for Metroid fans. But that's all for now, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I really appreciate it. If you love Nintendo content, make sure to subscribe and maybe also hit that notification bell. But that's all for now, everyone. See you all really soon. Bye.